Seven-figure squad, seven-figure squad. We don't stop, we multiply. Seven-figure squad. Run it up, we raise the bar. Seven-figure squad. Play finesse, we going far. Seven-figure squad. Who are we? Seven-figure squad. What we do? Run it up, run it up. Who are we? Hey, seven-figure squad. What we do? Run it up, run it up. Started from zero, got God in the plan, yeah. Now I'm counting blessings, got wealth in my hand. Used to dream small, not a mindset grand. Now I move like a boss, not a flash in the gram. It's a squad, not a clique, it's a mission with a vision. We building seven figures, not just flexing for attention. Faith in the grind, purpose in the hustle. I don't chase cash, I attract it through muscle.
All right, let me say this loud and clear. America is not your problem. Your mindset is. And today we're going to break down some of the financial strongholds in the name of Jesus. So what's cracking, everybody? Money Smart Guy Matt Sapala here, hailing to you from Dallas, Texas, and welcome back to a Tuesday, 2 p.m.'s Millionaire Responds YouTube live video. The only live show here where faith collides with finance and a cowboy hat, where the broke mindset gets cast out. We crush excuses the way Paul said in 2 Corinthians 10, verses 5, where it says, we demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself against the knowledge of God. Today, we're going to go to war on bad thinking. We're going to go to war on financial lies. We're going to go to war on the systems designed to keep the average person docile, mediocre, distracted, and dependent. So here's what we're hitting hard today. Why I'm wearing this cowboy hat, or actually I got this in Montana. Why we're covering the Dallas boom, part 1 and 2. Everybody's talking about the decline while Dallas is rising like Jerusalem on rebuilding day. You better know what God is doing in this land of Dallas, in Texas, and why the anointing is shifting here. That's right, I said it. The mix in Frisco, right down the street from my house here. Billionaire playground. Or is it simply God exposing the difference between those who position and those who procrastinate? Now, speaking of Dallas, North Dallas now, to live here comfortably, it's $107,000 per year. Now, if that number offends you, good. It should wake you up. Because in Proverbs 14:23, it says, all hard work brings a profit. Mere talk leads only to poverty. So we're done with mere talk today. We're going to be reviewing these videos. For example, entrepreneurship is trash. Get a job instead. What? Listen, the only people who say entrepreneurship is trash are the ones who bury their talents like in Matthew 25. We don't bury talents around here. We simply multiply them. Another video I'm responding to today is early mortgage payoff strategies. Is it legit or are they lies? Family, a lot of the videos I've been seeing about how to pay off your mortgage faster and quicker, it's just clickbait, bank bait. You think you're beating the system? But you're actually strengthening the very chains God told you to break. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7 says, the borrower is slave to the lender. And I wrote the book called Keep the Keys, not losing them to cute TikTok math. So we're going to do some math here. We're going to actually break down the digits. Another video I'm responding to, this person says here, I can't help dad at the end of his life because of the healthcare bureaucracy. Now, this isn't politics. This is stewardship. And this is honoring father and mother. This is Exodus chapter 20, verse 12 with practical guidance. Another video I'm responding to is America really dangerous? This French man who immigrated to America has got a hilarious opposite take. We need to check this out together because sometimes God uses outsiders to expose the lies insiders have been exposed and normalized. So today's live reaction video is just not a reaction show. It's a renewal and a revival of responsibility, a resurrection of discipline, and a call to deeper kingdom stewardship. And if you're ready to stop renting your life and start owning your future, then buckle up. Here we go. Starting on the 7-figure squad, YouTube, Millionaire Responds, starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey, 7-figure squad, what we go? Run it up, run it up.
All right, let's get rolling here to See what they're saying here about Dallas. Dallas is now slowly becoming Dallas is slowly becoming next mega city in America. Let's check this out.
And it's showing no signs of slowing down either, with Metroplex, a region that has become one of the most powerful urban engines in the United States. In 1990, just over 4 million people lived here. Today, that number has nearly doubled to 8 million, making it not only the largest metropolitan area in Texas, but also the fourth largest in the entire country, ahead of San Francisco, Atlanta, and even Miami. And it's showing no signs of slowing down either. Between 2020 and 2025, it was home to 5 out of the 10 fastest growing cities in the country, and some studies predict that it could be the largest metro area in the country by 2100. But what makes this story remarkable isn't just the population boom by sheer numbers. It's also how the region is growing. It's one of the most sprawling metro areas in the US, dominated almost exclusively by single-family homes. As a whole, it covers approximately 9,286 square miles in total, making it larger than the entire state of New Jersey. So why did everyone seem to collectively decide to move to Dallas? And what does that mean for its future? In the early 20th century, Dallas was a modest regional hub, mostly defined by its railroads, trade, and oil money. But not yet the kind of city that attracted people from across the country. It's not that hard to see why, considering it was practically located in the middle of nowhere with no major rivers or coastline, just endless stretches of flat prairie in all directions. However, things started to change after World War II. As the Sun Belt began to grow, Dallas began to diversify its economy beyond oil and finance. And with plenty of flat, developable land and a business culture that openly welcomed newcomers, it quickly became a prime destination for both families and companies. A major factor came with the arrival of the interstate highway system that gave Dallas connections to the other major cities in Texas. Unlike older cities that were built around street grids or transit lines, Dallas built itself around mobility and space, promising residents cheap land, big homes, and easy freeway access to wherever the jobs are. The growth only accelerated towards the end of the 20th century. Between 1990 and 2000, the DFW had the fastest growth rate out of all the top 10 cities in the country, adding nearly 1.3 million people, and it has continued ever since. Now, the area is, as I mentioned in the beginning, the fourth largest in the US, with about 8 million people. This is Dallas, or more accurately, the
I love it. Let's go to part 2.
extremely spread out. Just look at this chart, which measures the population density distribution of the top 50 largest metro areas in the US and Canada. As you can see, it has the highest percentages of yellow out of all the metros. These are basically the regular density suburbs, which Texas is often associated with. From above, the entire region looks like one continuous layer of single-family homes, highways, and business parks stretching in every direction. Even though there are still separate cities, Dallas and Fort Worth practically merged together all the way back in the 1980s, and ever since then, the area has expanded in every direction, as you can see in this time-lapse. To the north, places like Plano, Frisco, McKinney, and Prosper have exploded in size. Frisco alone grew from barely 6,000 people in 1990 to more than 240,000 today, one of the fastest growth rates of any city in America. The north is also home to Princeton, which is currently the fastest growing city in the whole US, with a 30.6% growth rate from mid-2023 to 2024. Other more recent examples are the likes of Salina, Anna, Royce City, and Melissa, which are all on the list of the top 10 fastest growing cities as well. New subdivisions seem to appear almost overnight, filling in open prairie with identical grids of homes, schools, and shopping centers. There are many reasons that Dallas has managed to sustain such rapid growth for so long. Firstly, it is relatively affordable, especially compared to the likes of California, the East Coast, or even Austin. Dallas also has a very strong suburban school system. Places like Frisco International School District, Prosper ISD, Lovejoy ISD, and Argyle ISD are top-rated, making them magnets for families seeking good education. The job market is another major selling point. Over the last decade, Texas has attracted more relocating businesses than any other state, with many of them naturally landing in the DFW. As I mentioned earlier, Dallas has managed to diversify its economy to a point where sectors like finance, healthcare, logistics, and technology all have thousands of jobs to offer. However, Dallas is also unique in the way that the jobs have been distributed. Between 1990 and 2016, the city of Dallas itself added just 123,000 jobs, which was less than half of that in Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. However, while its population...
I love this. I love this. This is, by the way, we just had a event a couple weeks ago called Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey. And I was just so excited to see so many people just show up and show out. If you haven't come to our Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event, I run this once a quarter. You know, I invest a good deal of money putting these things together. And this normally start off as just a gathering of people in Chicago, because that's where I started, just gathering people, big thinkers in Chicago. And we just casually get together over cigars and whiskey and chop up what's going on in our economy and how could we better steward our businesses and our careers and our money and find ways to work together that enjoy one another's success and help each other to the next level in our businesses and our careers. And when I moved down here to Dallas, we decided to do it again too as well. But this time was a little bit more formalized because a lot of people said, I don't want to be around people that are just there for hanging out and riffraff and because whiskey is involved. People come out because of our sponsors are just there to drink. And so we want to make sure people have a vested interest and a desire to be there. That's why the tickets range between $147 for premium access, $247 for VIP tickets, and $997 for elite access for tighter proximity between the top people who are willing to investigate into this room. And I discussed last Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey why Dallas is the new financial frontier. And this is a big reason why. These videos are coming out, and the biggest the biggest sector that's here in Dallas right now is financial services. You thought more people in financial services worked in New York? No, it's now Dallas. And the Texas Wall Street, one of the C-suite executives, Mr. Karcher, Jeff Karcher, is coming out to our event, February 12th, 2026. And I'll be interviewing him about the importance of the Texas Wall Street being established here now. The last time a Texas Wall Street has been, or a National Stock Exchange has been established in any major city was back in 1983 in the Chicago Board of Exchange, where I'm from. And now it's Dallas. And I didn't even know it was going to be established here. And crazy how guys just kind of pointing you throughout your entire life and putting things in front of your path. And I'm making sure that I'm doing my job as an entrepreneur to not do my part in contributing to this economy, contributing to my community, but also do my part to bring people together, bring relationships together, bring a lot of people, because 175,000 people just moved here to Dallas last year. More millionaires are being created in America, and a lot more will be created here in Dallas. And the crazy part is a lot of people here, every time I do a workshop, I ask, who is here originally from Dallas? People, about 10% of the room raises their hands. The next, the second question, the follow-up question, who is here relocated from Dallas within the last 3, 4, 5 years? Boom, 80, 90% of the hands go up every time I do a financial workshop. So I am serving the community because people here looking for opportunity. People coming here from different cities and states. Just had a young lady come to our office last night, took a bus at 3 o'clock in the morning. She said, I want to work together with you, Matt. Her name is Isabel Marie. I want to work together with you, Matt. And right away she tells me, Matt, 10 years ago, I had double strokes, 2 strokes, left side of her body, tough to move. And I can see she's worked hard on personal development, physical rehabilitation. She comes into my office right away. You see a light shine, her attitude, her disposition, her demeanor. She wants to take on the world. She said something very powerful to me last night. Just because I'm disabled, yet I'm healed. I can't be healed and disabled at the same time. Many people will hide behind their disability. Many people hide behind a health setback. But she says, you can't be healed in the blood of Christ and be disabled at the same time. What a powerful statement. And so she's coming to my office and listen, Matt, I can't wait till I speak on your stage because I'm going to earn it. What? She's just absolutely rock solid in her attitude and disposition. And she tells me her whole financial situation. I'm not going to disclose it here publicly, but she told me her whole financial situation. Let's just say many of you are much more fortunate than she. But yet she's rich by her attitude. She's rich by her spirit. She's rich by her gratitude. And so many people today got so many things going on for them, and they're lazy in their deployment of their talents, time, and resources. And I'm going to make it my personal calling to do my part, to be accessible and available to her, to make sure she gets licensed, to make sure she gets clients, to make sure she has an opportunity to thrive in her office. I'm going to do my part. This is not a guarantee. Here's why. Because I'm not going to babysit her either. She won't respect me if I did that. She came out here from 3 o'clock in the morning on a Houston bus ride to Dallas to sit in an Airbnb until she finds a place to stay. But talk about a woman being led by faith. She has this much faith in a new city, but God told her to move and to cast her vision into our office. I can't wait to introduce her to our teams tonight. And so this is why Dallas is attracting these type of people, because goals and dreams and aspirations are coming alive here. And by the way, many other cities all across the country. I just happen to be biased because I'm here in Dallas. But Dallas is slowly becoming the next mega city. Let me go here on my iPad. Can we go to my iPad? So last, was it November 18th here? There it is. November 18th, I was here downtown. But in mind, I was networking with him for the last 5 years. He introduced me to a hedge fund manager, Scott Thieringer. They run a private equity fund. And I'm in his office, in his boardroom downtown. And he's pointing to me all the different land developments he got going on in Dallas. He can pick them out. He can pick them out. He's got over 3,000 lots they're in charge of here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He's showing me from his boardroom where they are. And he's casting me a vision of what they're about to build with the private equity money they're going to be raising and investing to build the infrastructure, build the business offices, the residential homes, and going to sell this land to developers. And this is the power of networking, everybody. He just showed me. This is my buddy Jason here to the right, who I met at a networking event 5 years ago during the pandemic. We made a concentrated effort during the pandemic to make sure we doubled down on who we shake hands with. And 5 years later, guess what happens now? 5 years later, we're shaking hands. And we're looking to do some big things here in Dallas. And he is excited to be at our next Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event because he wants to hear from Jeff Karcher, a C-suite executive from the Texas Stock Exchange, which will be at our event February 12th, 2026. We'll get your tickets now. Early bird tickets are on our website available right now. And so, I'm just excited. This the development here. Boom. Okay, right there is if you guys don't know, that's the Ross Perot Museum. Okay, here at the bottom, that's the Ross Perot Museum. Okay, the Natural History Museum. Right behind it is being built I believe it's like a $700 million, $800 million headquarters for Goldman Sachs. If you guys don't notice, Goldman Sachs is a market maker in Wall Street. Okay, they're one of the titans of Wall Street, one of the innovators and creators of America, let alone Wall Street. And they're building a brand new headquarters right here, downtown Dallas, right down the street from where we're standing at right now. And the interesting thing I was saying about this while I was looking out his window is because the company that acquired us is right there, Integrity Marketing Group. The company that acquired us 3 years ago, 2022 of June, is Integrity Marketing Group downtown, the largest financial marketing organization in the world, who cut a check for us for $250 million. And now across the street is where? The Texas Wall Street, right there. So they're calling this street here in downtown Dallas, and instead of calling it Wall Street, they're calling it Y'all Street. You get it? Y'all Street. And so, this is potentially the new headquarters of where the next Texas Wall Street might be at, right there in this building I was at. Very excited about the progression of Dallas. The number one city of corporate relocations in America. The number one city in America that's hit the hardest with inflation. And so, speaking of that, let's take a look at this video right here on what's going on here, right down the street from my house, which is a place it used to be called the Hole by the Toll. They're not calling it the Mix. Let's take a look at this. They're missing sound. Oh, here it is.
Into the Mix, the massive $3 billion project rising up where Wade Park used to be. Hi, I'm Marina Franco. I'm your Frisco real estate expert and lifestyle insider. Now, let's picture this, a 40,000 square foot Whole Foods sitting in the middle of a walkable community with trails, medical offices, over 600 townhomes, and even an 8-acre park. The city even threw in $113 million in grants just to kick things off. If you've ever driven past the site, you know construction's been moving since January. And this just isn't another shopping center. The Mix is planning 2 million square foot of Class A office spaces, plus retail, dining, and parking garage. So yeah, imagine grabbing your organic oat milk, heading to the park for a walk, and then meeting a friend for dinner, all without leaving the neighborhood. That's the vibe Frisco's going for. And here's the kicker. With Whole Foods choosing this exact location, it signals confidence that the mix is going to be a lifestyle anchor,
Hello.
not just another development. So, what do you think? Is this a game changer for Frisco, or do we already have enough grocery stores? Comment below.
It's a game changer. Let's go back to my iPad right here. So just a few weeks ago, we were there, boots on the ground. Boots on the ground there at the mix. They're building it right now. This is part of our promotions for our Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event. We went there. We shot this right on site. And, you know, the conversations about people moving here. There's Darian. Let me shoot this. There you go, Dariano. Right? We're shooting this one. And guys, the mix. Who's going to be in the mix here in Frisco, Texas, man? I'm done with my iPad. Who's going to be in the mix here in Frisco? And by the way, if you're here in Frisco, we're building the Universal Studios. We're building this. The PGA headquarters is right here. So everything here, and not only in Dallas, but also North Dallas, going north, giving more north, right? To Salina, to Princeton is going more north. Pretty soon, we're going to have a direct connection north, north-south between us and Oklahoma. So a lot of interesting things are happening here in Frisco in the next 10 years. I project right now, 10 years, 15 years from now, it's going to happen. Either way, time's going to go by. That's the thing with cities, wherever you live, regardless if it's Dallas or wherever you live, time's going to go by. Where are you planting your roots? We decided to move here from Chicago to Dallas, Texas. A couple of things. Number one, safety. Two of our insurance agents got shot and killed in our cars in Chicago during the pandemic. We're like done. And the way police is being handled and the law is being handled in Chicago, we just don't feel safe. Number two is weather. I'd rather be in extreme heat than extreme cold. Number three, first, that should be number one actually. But here, the economy is just strong. We just felt that things potentially here could be affordable, which the irony is when we moved here in 2021, there was not a place we couldn't even find a house to rent. We found a house to rent. One was available. Boom, right away called and rented right away, sight unseen. Moved down here, decided not to buy for a year just so my wife and I can figure out where we wanted to live. And then we figure out where we want to live. Boom, where we want to live, right here, Frisco. And next thing you know, things are being built. We prayerfully asked God, where does he want us to anchor down, plant our roots? Boom, right here, Frisco. So if you guys are looking for a city and state to relocate to, might want to consider Dallas, Texas. But here's the thing, though. Let me add into this. You got to make some money, though. You got to make some money if you want to live in Dallas. Matter of fact, let's rename DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth. Let me add in another F because I believe it's the next downtown of Dallas, which is Dallas-Frisco-Fort Worth. Let me add that F between the DFFW. Now it's DFFW. But here's the thing, though. You got to have a desire to make a lot more money to live. And I'm not just saying it's going to be unaffordable. I'm saying for right now, people, you better step up your money game. It's no longer a cool thing, a luxury thing to do. If you are finding yourself not properly stewarding your time, your career, your resources, your talents, that you should find ways to upgrade, hello, you're going to be taken over by the marketplace here in Dallas, Texas. Let's take a look at this video here.
A recent study suggests North Texans need a six-figure salary in order to live comfortably. Let's break down the numbers. Travel and finance site Upgraded Points found a single adult needs just over $107,000 a year. Two adults need a combined salary near $138,000. Add a child, it goes to $184,000. Family of five needs about $265,000. Now, all of this is far above DFW's median personal income of $51,000. It is not cheap to live here, y'all. New tonight.
Not cheap to live here, y'all. Okay, well, listen, man. Yeah, that's true. And by the way, I think it's gravitating this in many different cities. It's a big reason why Mandami was voted as mayor in New York City because New York City is right now unaffordable. 600,000 people left in New York because it's unaffordable. I mean, the reason, in potentially including politics, etc. So what should people do? This is the wake-up call that everybody in America seems to be hitting the snooze button on. You can't be hitting the snooze button on this type of stuff because when the cost of living rises faster than your rise of earning, that's not inflation, bro. That's entrapment. This is pharaohs tightening the bricks with no straw. You know, where it says there in Exodus chapter 5, verse 7, where it talks about the same spirit but different economy. So what do people do? Here's the truths that people on TikTok won't tell you to do. Number one, you got to stop complaining. One of the Pokemon cards we introduced in my book, Keep the Keys, that we launched during our Keep the Keys book tour, we have 4 Pokemon cards, so to speak. I've been into 13 different cities now across the country, and we introduced these Pokemon cards, not necessarily Pokemon cards, but you know what I mean. Like the Pokemon cards where it talks about your health, your strength, your attack, your defense, right? Those categories. How much person does one have if you're a complainer? That's the first Pokemon card, is a complainer. And the crazy part is today, I say this tongue in cheek, but the most attractive, most viral, most effective recruiter in America today is a complainer. Boy, do they know how to attract a following. Boy, do they trigger people in the comment sections. Boy, do complainers know how to resonate with a lot of people in America and recruit a pity party. Because today, as it was 10 years ago, as it was 50 years ago, it was 100 years ago, as it was 500 years ago, we all face tough times, man. This ain't a generation just uniquely positioned for 2025. Oh my gosh, this human being species is going to face tough times in 2025. You think we think you're that special? You think there wasn't challenges happening in society in America previous to you living? Stop it. Because here's what happens, as we discussed in previous Millionaire Responds topics. When you start complaining, guess what starts to flood your brain? Cortisol. Cortisol. And what happens is your brain starts shutting down. The prefrontal cortex stops creating and kills creativity. However, when you solve, dopamine comes in your body. That's why sometimes it's so hard for me to fall asleep late at night, but not because I have insomnia. But I'm just so excited about my life. I'm just so excited about my day. I'm so excited about what I got going. The problems I got going on that may, for some people, create anxiety, I count it as challenge. And every day I have a hard time going to sleep because I got dopamine in my brain. Dopamine in serotonin in my brain housing group. Because this is firing up the executive function of thinking, planning, of building, execution, excitement. In Philippians chapter 4, verse 6, it says this: don't worry about anything, but make your requests known to God. Requests, what happened after requests? You seek solutions. When you worry, you're not looking for solutions. You're strangling yourself. Don't even realize it. So number one, stop complaining. Even though the most attractive social media channels out there today, the most attractive headlines in the news today are complaining type headlines and clickbaits. Number two, you got to get a side stream of income. You can no longer be in a situation where you're just passive about your income. And by the way, DoorDash and Uber, they're no longer options because drones and AI efficiently going to, 3 years, practically done. Amazoning on the side, they're going to be done. Dallas didn't just get more expensive. People didn't just get more valuable. The Dallas household makes $82,000 average income in Dallas household, but the comfort threshold is $107,000. So the question for you is, do you want to be comfortable? It's one of the questions I ask people at our workshops every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. How much income do you want to make? You know what most people say? 95% of people say, I just want to be comfortable. Well, now you know the specifics. $107,000 is comfortable. Average household income in Dallas is $82,000. That's a $25,000 gap. How do you make up the $25,000 gap? Just to be comfortable. I'm not saying for you to even retire early. I'm just saying to be comfortable. Because you don't close the $25,000 gap with just prayer alone, as we just said in a Sunday night episode. You close it with skill. Everybody today, you have to upskill. And one examples of us upskilling this year was the use of AI. We launched 2 businesses this year because of AI. One of them is a music production company called The Movement. If you haven't downloaded The Movement yet, make sure you download. It's a album filled with songs and hip hop and R&B to fill you with excitement about entrepreneurship, about destiny, about generational wealth creation, about life insurance, about saving and investing, about working in the dark, that the most impressive thing is not the lightning, that's for show, but the most impressive thing that moves people, what scares my son late at night, is not the lightning, it's the thunder. People wake up because of thunder. They hear things coming because of thunder. They get intimidated because of thunder, not because of lightning, but because of the thunder comes right after it. Even Paul, the Apostle Paul, had a trade. Most of the disciples had a trade. All the tribes of Judah, all the tribes of Israel, they had a trade. Spice traders, shepherds, fishermen, farmers, tent makers, warriors. All the tribes of Israel had a trade. Acts 18, verse 3. Paul made tents while he was preaching the gospel. While he's spreading God's word, guess what Paul is doing? He's selling tents. If Paul had a side hustle, you should too. Number 3, stop hearing $107,000 a year as a wall. Start seeing it as a target. Let's go. Most people act emotionally. Very few people act strategically. That's why we have workshops at our office. That's why I have workshops online. That's why we do our social media, to create a strategy, to find an IG profile, a YouTube channel that helps you invoke strategy. If the new comfort is $107,000 in Dallas, then ask, what skill then gets me paid? What relationship elevates me? What environment grows me? What discipline sustains me? Interesting questions you ought to process. Because comfort has a cost. And cost requires you to increase your capacity. Because if you don't want to pay that cost, no problem. You're just stuck in this capacity. And this capacity is not comfortable. 4th thing, own something, man. Own something, anything. Start owning things. I ask this question often. 13 stops. I keep the keys book tour. And by the way, the next one we're doing right here is in Dallas. If you want to find out where my next stop is, keep the keys book tour across the country. Just came back from, where did I come back from? Calverton, Maryland. The day before that, I was in Corona, California. Had a fantastic blast with Christian and Flor Oriana out of Corona, California. They held a tent outside so we can do cigars, wealth, and whiskey type of vibe Q&A afterwards. We had a fantastic conversation from 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we did a keep the keys talk, book signing. And then after that, we did a mastermind Q&A. Fantastic job, Christian and Flor Oriana. Then the next day, flew coast to coast from Corona, California to Calverton, Maryland in the DMV area. And it's because I couldn't stay that night on Saturday. Chris and Vicina Hart hosted us in Calverton, Maryland. Shout out to Chris and Vicina Hart. They just had a baby, Chase. And the fastest in our company to go from $1 to $2 million in income. Fantastic job, Chris and Vicina Hart. And we did a mastermind with his agency owners and community builders that Friday night. Let me see if I got a picture of that. Since I'm giving them a shout, I got to show them what we got going on here. This is a Friday night there. Chris, that's Chris Hart right there. Teams Zamile there and Adalawit. By the way, these ladies here from Zimbabwe and Ethiopia, young in their 20s, now running their own agency. Shout out to them. Fantastic job. They destroy all the excuses. Right? This is us late at night. Friday night, we had the workshop first thing in the morning. Shout out to Chris and Vicina out there. And by the way, to Chris Hart's point, this is his deal. He's now driving a McLaren. Proud of you, Chris Hart. And he had me talking to his office. We had a bunch of people there in real estate, a bunch of people there in mortgages. He hosted this. They packed the house. This is Calverton, Maryland. Right? And so had a fantastic time out there. But to my point, let me go back here to y'all. The conversation of you owning something, anything, because renting everything. Think about the things that you assess right now. Think about this. Do assessment. If you're watching this, do an assessment. Write down the things that you own. Because ownership, even small ownership, is what stabilizes families. It stabilizes neighborhoods. It stabilizes your mind when you own something. Because the question I asked coast to coast during my last 13 Keep the Keys book tour stops is one thing. Here he goes. It's a series of questions. Follow me on this. It says, for example, if you watching this live or watching the replay, in your neighborhood, where's the hood? In Dallas, where's the hood? In Chicago, where's the hood? In LA, where's the hood? In Calverton, Maryland, where's the hood? In Miami, where's the hood? In Little Rock, Arkansas, where's the hood? In Memphis, where's the hood? In Chicago, I said Chicago, where's the hood? You name it. These are some of the cities. In Tucson, Arizona, where's the hood? In Fredericksburg, Virginia, where's the hood? These are stops I just named off the top of my head. I've been to the last 13 stops. Las Vegas, where's the hood? And by the way, we were in it doing the workshop. Where's the hood? Everybody knows. By the way, put it in the comment section. Where's the hood? Is anybody responding? Where's the hood in your city? Where's the hood in your neighborhood? By the way, anything Martin Luther King Drive, that's where the hood is. I don't know. It's such a bad thing, right? Chicago, South Side, Brownsville, Martin Luther King Drive, right? By the way, that's where I was born, 47th and in King Drive. But that's where Michael Reese Hospital was at back in the day. Anything Martin Luther King Drive in any city and state, that's where the hood is. Okay. Now, flip it. But before we flip it, in the hood, do people there own things or do they rent things? Do they own their house? Do they own their property, or do they rent the property or get it subsidized? Flip it. And now into the wealthy neighborhoods, you know where they're at. Where's the wealthy neighborhoods in your city and state? In California, anything hills. Tustin, hills. Corona, hills. Anaheim, hills. Beverly, hills. Anything hills in California, wealthy. Wealthy neighborhoods. Now here's a question, same follow-up question. Do people there own or do people there rent? Well, ding, 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 ding. Think about this. In the lower income neighborhoods, you have more renters because people don't have the disposition of owning things. They don't want to level up their income, because if you level up your income, you can eventually own things. And do people take care of things that they own or take care of things that they rent? You already know the answer. You take care of things you own, there's pride in ownership. It's your money. Something breaks, you fix it because it's yours. Rent, you don't give a shit about it. That's why people destroy rental neighborhoods versus destroying wealthy neighborhoods, because there's more owners and renters. So forget this whole rich versus poor. Because I've met rich people in the hood. Stop it. Stop it. Don't give me no excuses. You know there's rich people in the hood, albeit by illegal means. You know there's rich people in the hood. You know there's wealthy people in the hood. You know there's leaders in the hood, as there are in the wealthy neighborhoods. It just has to shift the mentality of what actually is it that I own. You know, how many guys have watched that series called Narco by Pablo Escobar? Pablo Escobar, the biggest drug runner in the history of the world, was a legit leader, a legit CEO. I mean, at one point he said, what? Vote me to Congress of Colombia because I, as an entrepreneur, will pay off your debt. And what were the Colombian officials thinking about? Oh, maybe we need to give this guy a seat at the table. And people are, what are you talking about? He's a drug dealer. Everybody knows he's a drug dealer. You're going to let a drug dealer buy his way into Congress, pay off the national debt just so he can have a seat on Congress, in the Colombian Congress, the Colombian government? Some of the people said, yeah, sure, why not? And they shamed him because the morality took over. He was pissed. He had a point to prove. They became his real enemy, not only mentally, not only economically, but also mentally. But if Pablo Escobar was legit, he'd be a CEO dominating, building $1 trillion company today. Because he knew how to identify a problem and fix it and recruit and scale, and albeit sadly, by terroristic means. But he knew how to recruit you. He knew how to find your pain and recruit you to a dream. But if $107,000 now is the new normal, then you got to own your skills. You got to own your business. You got to own your assets. You got to own your decisions. You got to own your outcomes. Proverbs chapter 24, verse 3 says this: by wisdom a house is built, and through understanding It is established. Do you want to establish your home? None of the tribes of Israel rented their lands. They owned their lands, or they were steward of their land, but they had an ownership mentality over those lands. There's pride in being part of that tribe. There's being a pride in being a tribe of Israel. Because people complain about comfort, they never build. Last but not least, you got to be in rooms where $107,000 income isn't a stretch. I remember I started walking into rooms where people were making 80 grand, 90 grand, 100 grand. I felt intimidated. It was because it was a massive stretch for me. Right? You hung around me and you're making 20, 30, 40 grand. I felt comfortable. But the moment I went to rooms where guys kind of dressed a little bit differently, talked a little bit differently, ate a little bit, had different mannerisms about them, it was a different evolution for me. Until I told myself, you should own this room. Why do you feel indifferent? You want to be in rooms where making $100,000, $250,000 a year isn't a stretch. It's a starter pack. And when you're putting yourself in an environment that determines your economics, your proximity of people determines your economics. If everybody around you makes $60,000 a year, making $107,000 is just impossible. No way. But if everyone around you makes $250,000, $107,000 is like, what are you still doing there, bro? Level up. Because proximity is wealth. With everything, not just money. Wealth in your spirit, wealth in your finances, wealth in your fitness, wealth in your family, your relationships. It's proximity. If I'm married, do you think my proximity should be around single people? If I'm married, my proximity should be around other successful marriages that want to work and build a life together. I just buried my uncle this past weekend. And I gave the eulogy at his funeral. If you want to go to the iPad here, bro. I gave the eulogy there. You can tell me something interesting about this eulogy. Not me talking, but the people that were there. My uncle had a position with the International Monetary Fund. He was the chief editor. My uncle Ian McDonald, who's from Scotland, he married my aunt. Okay, he married my aunt in the 1960s, where multicultural families weren't the norm. So salute to my uncle, who married my Filipino aunt, an immigrant from the Philippines. Married my aunt, and in their marriage, we were able to visit there several summers. And he had me go to camps at the YMCA, right? But there in the Bethesda YMCA. Here, Bobby, here's the audience. Okay, here's the audience. This is my cousin, my sister back there. Okay, there's the audience. So in this retirement community, which is a very expensive retirement community, his retirement income took him to places where I met these three gentlemen. Okay. And the guy at the end of my talk, he comes up to me and he goes, "Thank you for your service." I said, "Thank you for your support." She goes, "I supported you in different ways." I said, "How so?" So I built a company that sold you your missiles, your tow missiles, your Stinger weaponry to shoot down helicopters and low flying aircraft. I said, "Get out of here." This guy in the middle was a defense contractor. He held the defense company before he sold it. He's in his 90s now. He's got 3 sons that are 60 years old. And guess what he's still doing? He's still sharp. He's still sharp. If he was here in Dallas, I'd be finding time to go sit down with this guy and just have cigars and conversation with him. And then this gentleman right here, Bill, Armenian. I told him my mentor's Armenian, Patrick David. And he's still operating. By the way, both these guys gave me their business cards. Which tells you that entrepreneurship is not something you retire from. I looked at him and said, "Sir, are you still operating a business?" I said, 100% I'm still operating. He's building virtual health clinics. So people can get healthcare all across the world without having to fly into get into a triage. They get direct medical care, virtual healthcare. These guys right here. They're still operating a business. Think about the proximity that I was in a retirement community, a bunch of hitters still hitting. in their 80s and 90s in a retirement community. So if you're around the right proximity, the fact that $107,000 income isn't a threat, it's a test. Don't let it scare you, let it stir you. And don't be in a position where you're like, oh my gosh, but man, I gotta stretch, I gotta grow. Listen, let the mountains inspire you, but let the valleys mature you. You can complain about the mountain though. Or you can be the rich person that climbs it. Because comfort costs more, but also so does complacency. Which hard do you want? You want the complacency, mediocre, hard? Where it's hard to make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year here in Dallas? Or the hard to improve, hard to level up your skill set. So therefore your income grows, then you can look back and your wife or your husband, your spouse asks you for things, I got you. Both are hard. Choose your hard. Go to the next video. Let's see here. This next video here. Oh, speaking of hard. Oh, this one's a heartbreaker.
Needs help in the back.
So this young lady here, she's having a moment of reflection because now at the end of life, things are a lot different for the people that she loves and care about at the end of their life. Let's take a look at this.
Bathroom, he needs help feeding, everything. I have my own kids. I have my own job. I have my own family. There is no social support. Only if you are wealthy can you buy that privately. Your primary care doctor cannot suggest that your dad should get admitted to a nursing home and that Medicare can cover. When I work on the inpatient side of things, cannot go see your dad down in the ED and suggest, oh, what he needs is help with daily activities of living. He should go to a nursing home. No. I have to admit him to the hospital, even though I as a doctor do not believe in that, so that the case manager can now send out a prior authorization as long as he has stayed in the hospital for at least 2 nights. And you're not paying the observation rate, you're paying the inpatient rate because they only accept from inpatient. This is what drains our money in this country. And you know where that money is being drained first? The American people. We are putting Americans in so much debt through this system, and the hospital is making a profit. And it does not go to physician salaries. You can bet on that. I have admitted patients before. Medicare doesn't even want to cover anyway. Now we're looking at other options like Medicaid. In order to qualify for Medicaid, you have to make no money at all.
Yeah, you have to have assets if you're married less than $3,000 or if you're single less than $2,000. And if you gave money away from your estate, if you gave money from your lifetimes of savings, there's a 5-year look back on when you gave money last. And every bit of your Social Security goes to Medicaid. So if you collect $3,000, $4,000 in Social Security and you're on Medicaid, you have to reassign that money to the nursing community, the nursing home, which now you are ward of the state, all that entire income. So you're really left with nothing. So Medicaid is the last and all B means in terms of taking care of the older generation.
And by money, I'm not talking about the cash flowing in. I'm talking about everything you own. Your car, your house, your savings that you've worked your butt off your entire life. Things you want to pass down to your kids after you die. Yeah, guess what you have to do with those things? You have to do what's called spend down. You have to sell that car. You have to sell that house.
I said spend down.
You have to be poor enough to qualify for Medicaid in this country so that you can go die with grace in a nursing home. We are so jaded, and this happens all the time, and we know it's wrong. We just live with the system. Cuts to Medicaid? Cut what? We are charging people who make $30,000 a year and supporting their family. We are charging them tens of thousands of dollars. People in the United States work until they die. This is a non-partisan issue. We are all human beings. As a citizen, you should be taken care of by your government at the end of life. Especially if you've paid taxes your entire life and you're promised Medicare at the end. You bring your elderly parent.
It's the socialistic conversation. By the way, just so you guys know, 1935 was when Social Security got created by Democrat President Roosevelt. And so when you're looking at this, I've been saying this for years, man. We've been in a retirement crisis for 20 years. And I'll just tell you this. Here's some data. The average cost of long-term care in America for a home health aide is between $65,000 and $75,000 a year. If you go to an assisted living facility, it's between $54,000 and $60,000 a year. If you go into a full-blown nursing home where they got to take care of you around the clock, it's $100,000 to $120,000 a year, in addition to what you're taking away into your retirement. Compare that to the average American retirement savings in America, which is $88,400 total. Not per year, total. That's what America saved on average per American citizen total. So do the math. No wonder so many parents die in shame. No wonder they have no resources. No wonder they have no financial plan, no ADL, activities of daily living support. So this is why stewardship is a command, not a suggestion. Proverbs 13:22 says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So what do most families leave instead? They leave bills, burden, brokenness, a GoFundMe. So this isn't judgment. This is reality. So what is the solution? The real solution isn't Medicare. It isn't a government stepping in. It's preparation. I'll give an example. I wrote a book called Gotcha, right? To my right. On my right. There you go. I wrote that book, Gotcha. And one of the gotchas, first one is losses. Second one is healthcare. And this is why. Because getting long-term care insurance, not depending upon Medicare, or getting a life insurance policy with living benefits that has provisions for assisting with activities of daily living, like bathing, transferring, eating, bathing, going to the bathroom, those type of things. Those ADL types of insurances provides a long-term care strategy, provides you protecting your dignity, because I'm sure she doesn't want to take, or anybody who wants to change their parents' diapers. So only two types of people will retire with dignity in America. First one, those who are prepared, and those who have kids that prepared for them. So if you're in your 20s and 30s right now, you thought it's tough enough to prepare for you. You got to prepare for your parents if your parents don't take care of themselves. So you ought to be having this Thanksgiving weekend a conversation about retirement planning seriously. Open up the dialogue. Who is taking care of who? And so, now some of y'all say, well, Matt, entrepreneurship isn't that easy. Let's take a look at this guy, because I have my thoughts on people that take this route of entrepreneurship, and yet when they face the first hurdle or the burden, this is their response.
It's trash, man. Get you a super high-paying job working for somebody else. Do your 40 hours a week. Go home. If you got to work an hour over 40 hours, they got to pay you time and a half, man. That's a lick right there, man. Entrepreneurship is trash, man. It's stressful. You got anxiety. Anytime your phone ring, you worried that something is wrong or something's going on. I don't know why. You can barely sleep through the night. You focus so much on one business, trying to make that business go right, then the other businesses that you have suffer because you're not there to curate those and make sure that they're going right. Everything is stressful as hell. You don't get a lot of time with your family because you're always trying to make sure that you have the money and the business going right so that they can have that to spend. It is stressful as hell. Ain't no vacations, no bunch of vacations. I don't be knowing what type of entrepreneurs y'all other folks.
Okay, I had enough. Okay. I just absolutely had enough. I don't know if this is a parody video. I don't know if this guy's trolling, but let's be honest. Most jobs, not all, most jobs, by the way, who would love to have a high-paying job? Everybody's looking for a high-paying job, but are they getting it? No. But a job, for most jobs, they pay you just enough to get your dreams. Just enough for you not to quit. Entrepreneurship forces you to do what? Or intrapreneurship forces you to do what? It focuses you on becoming a better person, increasing your skill set, and becoming a better person for the dreams and goals that you desire and require. And one keeps you safe, the other makes you sharp. One protects you today, the other one takes care of you tomorrow. And let me just break this down with data. And by the way, if you got questions, you want to connect, there's an app out there called Minect. You want some serious unpacking of what you got to do? The guaranteed way to reach out to me and get me to respond to you is an app called Minect. Scan this QR code, find me on Minect, send me your message, I respond back. You want me to send you a video? I respond back. You want to book a 15-minute one-on-one FaceTime type of call? I'll respond to you on this app called Minect. Real connection, real strategies, real answers. Let's get back down to this topic here. A high-paying job is an illusion because most high-paying jobs today come with no job security. Just so you guys know, the more expensive you are to a company, the more deployable you are or cost-cutting you are on a spreadsheet, especially if it's a non-sales oriented type of job. No revenue generating type of job. If you're not creating value for the company, if you're not generating more revenue for the company, and it's just a operator's position, those jobs are easy to be cut loose by any CFO. Also, high-paying jobs today come with no pension because you still got to save on your own through a 401k plan or your own personal savings account. A high-paying job gives you no ownership. A high-paying job gives you no control over your time. A high-paying job just gives you no scalability because you're simply just trading time for dollars. But entrepreneurship isn't trash. Your expectations might be trash. Because if somebody thinks this is trash, it's because they didn't expect the grind, like this guy's talking about, the discipline, like this guy's talking about, the work, what this guy's about, the time commitment necessary, what this guy's talking about. There's an internal war always going on with entrepreneurship. I totally get it. And by the way, you want to get closer to God? Start a business. Oh, Lord. Right? Bottom line, guys, entrepreneurship is not trash. It's simply refining who you are. Entrepreneurship gets rid of all the impurities of your attitude, mindset, disposition, work ethic, because it entrepreneur is going to be a mirror that's going to expose all your flaws. Not saying I can fix it for you. That's why you got to do that. But the only people that say this are people that never really did anything and people that care too much about what other people say. So final word on this, entrepreneurship isn't trash, it's transformation. And it exposes the weak parts of you so God can transform you. And a high-paying job pays your bills, but entrepreneurship rewrites your bloodline. Just like it has done for me, thousands of people in our firm that we've helped transform the way they think. Because if you transform the way you think, it's going to transform the way you see. Transform the way you see, change the way that you do, change what you do, change the results that you get in your life. So it's two different games, two different destinies, two different levels of courage. The job route or the entrepreneur route. Question is, which route's for you? You got to figure it out. I'll wrap up with this. I'll wrap up with this. Last couple ones here. Because based on my Keep the Keys book tours, people have been telling me, here's how you pay off your house faster. Here's how you pay off your house faster. Here's how you pay off your house faster. And this is one of maybe 10 videos. And these 10 videos will maybe in post-edit, we'll splice in all the different reels that encourage people how to pay off their house the right way, because this is the way the wealthy people do it. And I'm telling you right now. My wife and I are starting on a touch on the beginnings of going from rich to wealthy. We're just touching on it, just living. We're not wealthy yet. But I promise you this. There's many different families around this neighborhood I live in. I live in a very nice neighborhood here in Frisco, Texas. I can tell you that most of us still have a mortgage on the house. And we have just as much cash outside of the house. So wealthy, I'm going to cut to the chase, wealthy don't follow this advice. They may not be wealthy. I doubt it, because they wouldn't be giving this advice and guidance on how to pay off a house sooner than later and how to save interest long-term, so therefore it doesn't go to the bank. Let's take a look.
Realize that a 30-year loan could quietly turn into a 15-year one just by shifting a few numbers around. Let me show you how. When you look at your mortgage statement, find your principal and interest, not your taxes, not insurance, not PMI. Now divide that number by 6. That smaller number, send it as an extra principal-only payment every month around the 15th. See, most lenders won't share this because it doesn't make them a dime. But if you do this consistently, that 30-year becomes a 15-year, and you'll save tens of thousands in interest. Smart math, no refinance, just strategy. Follow.
Okay, just talked to a guy literally last night. He goes, Matt, I took my 30-year mortgage, and because I added more principal payments to it, I paid out my house in 20 years versus 30 years. I said, great, awesome. What's your next move? Because I don't know, man. I want to start my own business, man, but I got no money. I said, yeah, you do. He's just stuck in your house. I said, Matt, don't talk to me about touching my home equity line of credit, I get it, bro. But you got to this point right now where you've done the hard part. But salute to you. Kudos to you. You did what most people would hope to do, and you did it. So salute to you. Now, what did it get you? Get you a paid off house. You're rich on paper, but you got no cash in your pocket. Because today's freedom is liquidity. And when you're looking, and by the way, I learned this through the Great Recession, 07, 08, 09. I saw how people acted in terms of rushing to pay off the house. And when they lost value, they lost appreciation of the house, lost value of the house during the Great Recession of 07, 08, 09, their $400,000 homes became $200,000 homes with a $300,000 mortgage. So I learned these strategies through tough times. These strategies had been refined through the fire, not through a spreadsheet of theory. And so let me find this other video of a mortgage guy saying relatively the same thing. Okay, here. Let's go talk to, let's see what this guy.
Pay off your mortgage early. Despite what you've heard, there's actually 3 ways to do it. My name is Aaron Jensen. I've been a mortgage lender for 5 years. I'm
5 years
in 49 states.
All
I'm
that
gonna give you
experience in 5 years
that actually work. First one is to round up your payment to the nearest 100. So if you're paying $28.47 a month for your mortgage, round up to $2,900 a month. It doesn't seem like it's going to do much, but over time you're saving thousands on interest. The second strategy is making one extra payment a year, just one. What that does is it actually shaves off 7 years from a 30-year mortgage. 7 years. You can split it up throughout the year or drop it all at once. Either way, you're cutting years off the back end. And the third one's my favorite, bi-weekly payments. Here's the thing, there's 52 weeks in a year, right? So if you pay half your mortgage every 2 weeks, you end up making 26 half payments. That's 13 full payments instead of 12. You basically tricked yourself into an extra payment without even thinking about it. Now here's the move. You can stack all 3 of these together if you really want to accelerate the payoff. Round up your bi-weekly payments and throw in an extra one when you can. So send this to someone that's been talking about paying.
Awesome. Okay. Very cool. This other person says here, hey man, I got another $2,500 extra.
I pay an additional $2,000 a month towards our mortgage because we want to finish paying it off as fast as we can. At the end of every week, I put aside $500 a week so that I can make the $2,000. And last month had 5 Fridays, so this month is going to be an additional $2,500 towards the mortgage. So I'm excited to see how much interest I just saved myself when I make this payment and how many months it's going to take off our loan. So let's go make the payment. And now for the really fun part, we're going to insert the numbers in my mortgage calculator spreadsheet and see what this bad boy does, how much money we saved in interest and how many months taken off the loan. You can see here we've saved $20,000 in interest with just 2 extra payments, and we've knocked out a year from our loan. The original end date was supposed to be around September, October 2039, and we're currently at October 2038. And with the extra payment, we saved another $10,000, and we took off half a year from the loan as well. We're at April 2038. I started a series where I pay.
Let me get to this. I'll get straight to the point. Stop rushing to pay off an asset you rarely keep, and start strengthening the assets that you do keep. Here's why. Most people don't stay in a house for more than 8, 9, 10 years. Or most people refinance from that original mortgage in 8, 9, 10 years. So most people think they're actually paying off a 30-year mortgage. No, most people are leaving that house, selling the house, in other words, getting rid of that 30-year mortgage, or refinancing that house in 8, 9, 10 years. Because when most hear this financial advice, they hear pay off your mortgage early. They hear send extra to the bank, so you can accelerate the mortgage payment so I can be debt-free and have a mortgage burning party. But here's the truth. Here's what prepaying your mortgage does. It does not increase your liquidity. It does not reduce your risk. It does not increase your control. And if you sell or refinance like 90% of people do, all that acceleration disappears in the wealth. All that acceleration of mortgage payment disappears in the walls of your house that you no longer own, or a mortgage you no longer own. So instead, our keep the keys strategies teaches you to redirect those extra dollars. Instead of sending it to the bank, what happened? Instead of redirect, you good? So our keep the keys methodology guides people to redirect those same dollars you would send to the bank into a liquid side account that you control. Well, Matt, I'm not really paying off the mortgage. Well, hold on, because over the same 15, 30-year window, a home mortgage is a low-cost liability as compared to credit cards, student loans, and car loans. This way you have fixed payments that you can count on. many people think that over the same 15, 30-year window, your own personal financial reservoir has the potential for you to grow and compound your wealth with this liquid side account. The other area too is that you maintain my favorite things, which is liquidity, safety, control, access. Because in a worst case scenario, hello, Hurricane Katrina, hello, Hurricane Harvey, hello, Pacific Palisades fires, hello, fires in Malibu, hello, Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, Hurricane, what was the one in New York that flooded everybody in New York? Whatever these hurricanes and natural disasters, when people realize that I had accelerate my payment of my house, and then when tragedy hit, I've got no liquid cash, and add insult to injury, the next month I still got to pay my mortgage. So extra payments to the mortgage do this. Extra payments reduce your liability. It increases simultaneously if you're less safe. Who else is safe? Bam. It's the bank. My man Liddell Bugs, what's up, big dog? My man Liddell Bugs is that strategy that these guys are talking about is a snowball strategy. But the snowball strategy should be used for credit cards. Now, let me give you something else here. Let's go here to my freeform. Let me give you an example here. Let's go to the deal here. Let's go to the amortization schedule. Okay, this is a typical I think it was a $400,000 payment. $400,000 house you buy. This is an example of a $400,000 you buy with the mortgage with 3.5% down payment, FHA guidelines, and you've got a mortgage payment now, right? And over here, you see in this category, okay, you're paying your let's see here. Let me get my pencil out. Right here. Okay, right there, $23,000 in interest. Which, by the way, due to the one big beautiful bill, guess what Trump just allowed inside that tax plan? That Americans in America, it's been extended that you have up to $750,000 of mortgage interest you can deduct off your taxes, off your Schedule A. So add that with the child tax deduction, et cetera, et cetera. This might be an incentive for you to go out and transform your rental payment into a mortgage payment, because at least your mortgage payment potentially can be deducted off your tax. You got to check with the tax advisor. But you already know as a renter, you have zero chance to deduct anything unless, of course, you're running a home-based business out of your apartment or rental house. So in year one, the remaining balance that I'm paying off this mortgage is $381,000, coming down from a $400,000 house. Fifth year, you're starting to pay down this mortgage a little bit, but roughly you're paying a lot of money towards the interest. You see that's the interest column. You're not paying much anything into the principal until later on in the years of the contract. Let's look at the 10th year. We finally paid down this mortgage balance at $325, only $75,000 went down in the mortgage principal. But the interest you've been paying has been hellacious. You've been paying roughly $23, $22, $21, $20,000 in interest. Here in the 15th year, as an example, you still owe $277,000 on the mortgage, but you got $17,000 here of interest you've been paying on. Let's check this out, though. Let's say, hey, why don't I just redirect? Instead of $250 or $25, let's just redirect $1,000. Let's just redirect $1,000 into a liquid side account that you control. So instead of sending it additional to the mortgage company, you're sending it to a liquid side account that you control. Let me go here to my next report here. There's other calculators. See, a lot of people just see one thing. They just see the debt. You know what I see? I see missed opportunity cost. For example, like when people say, oh my gosh, I got over on the government. I got a tax refund. What's a tax refund, bro? A tax refund is simply a refund of an overpayment in taxes. You paid too much in your tax. That's why you got a tax refund. You didn't get over it in the government. By the way, first person to think that was me. I was doing my whole entire platoon, my Marines, I was doing all the taxes. Well, at least helping them file their taxes, head of household, et cetera, et cetera. But here in this example, right, I started with $1 in my account that's growing for 15 years at only a 6% rate of return. So in other words, I'm paying 6% on my mortgage, and I'm redirecting $1,000 instead of going to the mortgage company. I'm redirecting that to the side account that I control that's earning a 6% rate of return. My interest, since it's growing monthly, it's compounding monthly, I'm contributing $1,000 a month. Do you know what that mortgage balance, do you know what that investment balance would be in 15 years? Boom, 290. Woo! What do you mean, Matt? 290. So I got more money in a liquid side account than I have where? 15 years, what I got? 277. Brother, you can pay your house off. You can pay your house off. You take this 290. Let me see if I can zoom back out here. You can take this 290, right, and pay off this mortgage balance. But along the lines here, the whole time, while you're building your side account, $1,000 extra a month, starts growing, starts compounding. Guess who controls that money? You do. Guess who controls the money when you send that money to the mortgage company? They do. What happens along the next 15 years? You lose your job. AI eliminates your position. Sadly, you get sick, can't go back to work, right? You have a disability, some setback, or you're just having a hard time finding a job. Guess what pays your mortgage? Hello? The interest off your 290. Guess what helps you through the rough spots? The fact that you had a liquid side account of $290,000 or $100,000 in previous years that you controlled along the way. And guess what you can do in 15 years? Here's another option. Guess what you can do in 15 years? Instead of paying off the house like you do over here, guess what you can do? Take some of this cash, buy yourself another piece of property, buy you some more real estate. Get 2 pieces of property, get some more real estate, right? Get some more property, real estate, okay? All right? Why? Because you got liquidity. See, the reality is this. A lot of people today talk to you about getting rich quick. This reporter asked Warren Buffett. You guys know Warren Buffett, right? The Oracle of Omaha. If you live here in Dallas, you see the Colony, Nebraska Furniture Mart. Basically, that's that whole colony. That's all Warren Buffett. Geico Insurance, that's all Warren Buffett. The large majority of Berkshire Hathaway holdings are insurance companies. The reason why he likes life insurance companies is because it helps you build long-term wealth. People ask him, how come more people don't listen to you? It's just, the reason why a lot of people don't listen to me is because I teach people how to get rich slow. Progress. I see so many people today get clipped and set back economically because they think too short term. So hopefully this helped you guys out to help you understand why the keys methodology helps you stay liquid, helps you stay accessible to that equity. And by the way, if, for example, a house, let's go back to the screen here. Let's say your $400,000 house, let's say another recession comes in and this $400,000 house becomes a $300,000 house. Guess, right? And you still have a $340,000 mortgage balance. So you owe more than what the house is actually worth. Well, guess what you got on the side? You got this liquid side account that you ultimately can control, not the bank, not the government, you and only you. If you structure right, this is involved inside some form of permanent life insurance policy. Why? Because you can't put $1,000 a month into a Roth IRA. But you can't put in some form of permanent life insurance policy like a whole life policy, like a universal life policy, like an index universal life policy that's got minimum death benefit, structure for maximum cash accumulation. That's why I'm a strategist, guys. That's why we do these type of things. That's why for 26 years, I've seen our clients thrive. That's why this year we've got over 10,500 clients. So far at the recording of this video, we'll end up probably on 2,500 clients by the end of December. All to God's grace and mercy, allow me to operate as a steward in the insurance business. That being said, guys, I want to know what your thoughts are, your questions are, your feedback. With you agree with what you don't agree with. And that being said, guys, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe, hit like, share this. Let everybody know here, Tuesday, 2 p.m., Millionaire Responds. There's some of the things that's going on in the internet today, and you get the truth right here where faith meets finance. Again, please put your comments, your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. Big shout out to my boy, Ladale Bugs. We need to go get some prime rib here. I'll be out of town this week, brother, but next week we should settle back and get back into be that free back, and we'll get back to some form of steak dinner or lunch here in Dallas. That being said, guys, God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thankful and grateful for you. Remember, the number one trait principle to lead your life with is gratitude. All these things happen well in your life because of gratitude. I appreciate everybody here that's been commenting live, that's been dropping your thoughts and comments below. We use these comments, we read them, so therefore we can create better content for you week in, week out. Please put your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. From Dallas, Texas, I'm your money smart guy. And until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, be money smart. today. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.